Symbols are everywhere, and a lot of times those symbols and those markings will lead you to treasure or things that people have hidden. Although we do have to remind you that it is illegal to dig in state parks without permission. That being said, this is my journey, this is my adventure, and I hope you enjoy it. On After Hour Comedy, Declassified. So, we've already found one treasure, now we're going for another one. We're going for a gem. That's right, we're diving into the world of the secret. Anyone who knows what this is has been looking for this treasure for over 40 years. We're gonna find it. Well, I hope we're gonna find it. Let's go check it out. Time to get out of this wind too. We'll be back up at the studio. So now that we're back at the studio, let's take a little bit of a closer look at what The Secret really is. For anyone watching that doesn't know The Secret, it is a book. It was written by Byron Preiss almost 40 years ago. In 2015, Byron was in a car accident, which basically means these are the only clues that are left to this treasure hunt. There are 12 gems out there. 3 of them have been found. That leaves the rest of them still open to search for. And some of these could be in your states, but the one that we're going to be going after in this video is in St. Augustine, Florida. Well, that's where everyone thinks it is. So before we can really go and search for the treasure, we need to do some research. I've already done it for you, so it'll make it easy, but I want to dive into how The Secret works. All right, now to start this treasure hunt, we need to find a picture and match it with a verse. So there's 12 different riddles and 12 different pictures. The pictures here represent the states that follow: San Francisco, California; Charleston, South Carolina; Roanoke Island, North Carolina; Ohio, which was already found; Illinois, which was also found; St. Augustine, Florida; New Orleans, Louisiana; Houston, Texas; Montreal, Canada; Milwaukee, Wisconsin; Boston, Massachusetts, which was also found; and the home of Byron Preiss himself, good old New York. Now, the picture we're going to be looking for is the one that represents Florida, more specifically St. Augustine, Florida. Okay, this is the picture. Within this picture, there are a bunch of different clues, which we're going to talk about in a second. But that's only the first half. So there's clues within the picture. The next thing we need to figure out is the verse that goes along with it. Now, the verse that's going to go along with it for us is going to be right here. It's going to be this one on the top left. Now, the verse reads, "The first chapter, written in water, near men with wind rose, behind bending branches and a green picket fence, at the base of a tall tree. You can still hear the honking, shell, limestone, silver salt, stars move by day, and sails pass by night. Even in the darkness, like moonlight and teardrops. Over the tall grass, years pass, rain falls." So now what we need to do is we need to take that verse, we need to match it up with this picture, and we need to look for clues. We're going to do that right now. So let's dive in and let's take a look at this picture a little bit closer and see what people are saying. So first and foremost, we need to figure out if this is actually the picture for Florida. There's one easy way to do this. Check it out. Take a look at the clouds and kind of the negative background, so to speak. Yeah, does that kind of look familiar? Here, let me do this. If we take the actual shape of the state of Florida and put it against this picture, take a look at this. What do you see? The pieces match, they fit. But if that's not enough to pique your interest, we're going to pinpoint another landmark in this painting. For this, we're going to turn our eyes to this flag that is planted in the ground. If you notice, it looks like it's blowing in the wind, but it also has a very unique shape. Now, if we were to go and take a look at Google Maps, there is a river in St. Augustine, Florida. It is called the Matanzas River. The Matanzas River, when we look at its shape, it goes up, it goes down, but now let's compare it to the flag that we just looked at. It is very similar, if not identical, to the shape of the way that flag is blowing in the wind. Now, if this is the case, that is two landmarks in this painting that tie it to Florida. But wait, there's more. Yeah, I just went there. But now let's take a look at this map again, and this time we're going to focus on the bottom right corner of this painting. There's a rock and a palm tree. Well, the palm tree could be Florida, I could see that, but this rock has a lot of significance, and there's been a lot of debate about what this rock means. Here's what I think. Let's go back to Google Maps one more time and take a look around St. Augustine. Now, if you're looking around the map, you're going to eventually see there is an inlet of water off of the coast that is the same exact shape as the rock in this painting. Now, where this falls is in Ponce de Leon's Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park, and it's also the location for the Fountain of Youth, which I'm pretty sure we've all heard about. But how do I know that this is exactly where this treasure is hidden? One final clue I'm going to show you. And for this, we need to go back to the painting and we need to look at the person who is riding the horse. And if you don't know who that is, it is Ponce de Leon himself. And just to prove it to you, let's take a snapshot of the logo of the Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park. That's right, he's there as well. So when we take all of these clues and put them together, I'm pretty confident this is where the treasure is. All right, so now that we've taken a look at the clues, we are going to also take the verse that we read, and this verse is going to guide us in our physical search. So we're going to go to St. Augustine, we're going to read this verse and step by step follow it to hopefully where the treasure is. You guys are going to come along for the ride. Let's go to St. Augustine. To warm up and kind of to get ready to do this full-on treasure hunt at the Fountain of Youth in St. Augustine, we're going to do a little warm-up. So something that's called geocaching. Geocaching is basically, it's the same concept as treasure hunting, except for it's more modern day. So we're going to use an app. We're going to go to wherever, whatever location I decide to go to, closest one probably, and we're going to see if we can find a geocache. I've tried to target one that they said they couldn't find, which is right up my alley. As we pull into this park, it looks like we're battling against the elements, meaning it's gonna rain. It's Florida. Kinda knew it was gonna happen. But I think I can knock out this geocache fast enough to where we're not gonna get wet, we can leave our note, and then we can move on to St. Augustine. All right, so we're here. So the next thing is we're pretty much launching this app. This app here will pretty much tell us where we need to go. So it's showing us the actual cache location, which we're going to select this one, and then we click and it will pretty much take us here. And now it gives us some descriptions when it was last found. Someone actually said, so right here, that they did not find it. So DNF did not find, and someone looked for it on 11/11/20. That is our call sign here at After Hour Comedy. We're gonna find what someone claims isn't there. More or less what we're doing is we're following the GPS. As I spin, it spins, and we're kind of just trying to track. So lucky enough, when we're taking a look for this, it will tell you the size of the cache. It will also tell you where, if it's high, if it's low, kind of what you should be looking for. So it doesn't take me long to pinpoint exactly what group of trees this cache is in. But now looking for it, that was something totally different. At first I started looking on the ground and around the roots, and then I started looking up at eye level. But then I had the idea, okay, maybe it's not near a tree. I wonder if it's along the fence somewhere. Oh, there it is. Now there's different size caches you can go and look for. They have small, medium, large. Large ones are boxes where sometimes people will leave a bracelet and then you can take it and leave something else in return. The smaller caches like the one we just discovered, usually you're just gonna find notes, or sometimes it will be a list of names of people who have found it. So, being After Hour Comedy, I leave my mark, and I basically link them to our website, saying, hey, you're going to be featured here. So it looks like there's kind of some stuff stuck in there, and I just got a stick in there. I was going to put a note in there, but I'm not entirely sure that's going to work. Try to get this out as best as possible. Looks like some water got in there, and that's where the kind of started falling apart. And it's just kind of breaking away, which means someone really hasn't been here in a while. So after struggling for a couple minutes, I finally got the watered down paper out, and I was able to leave the note that I intended on leaving. There we go. Got it out. All right, so we cleaned it out. And we're going to put a whole new note in here. This note pretty much just says this will be featured on After Hour Comedy. And we're going to make sure to seal it properly this time. So that goes in there, and then that goes back in here. All right, so we made sure that was tight. So that was it. So we found one geocache, left our note. Now the next thing to do is head over to St. Augustine and do the same thing, but for some treasure. As I begin my way into the park, I'm looking around, and there is no doubt in my mind that for most people, this would be considered a tourist trap. How do I know that? Because it looks like every rest stop I've ever been to. But as I look around, I'm also noticing that what I thought was the location for Byron Price's clues are becoming more and more real. All right, so we're here at the entrance. Take a look at this. Remember our story, so first chapter, and that's where it starts. So that's the first chapter. Written in water. What could that mean? Well, that's an easy one. We're at the Fountain of Youth. And speaking of that, this is supposedly the real Fountain of Youth that was discovered in the early 1500s. I decided to take advantage of it, fill up a cup, and see if it will keep me young for the rest of my life. All right, so we're gonna go, and apparently this is water from the Fountain of Youth. So we're gonna see if it keeps me young forever. 1 to 10 rating, like a 3 as far as water. So after hopefully retaining my youth, I decided to see what the Ponce de Leon Archaeological Park had to offer. So when in Rome, do as the Romans do. But before long, I was very eager to finally piece together this puzzle. More than anything, I wanted to see if I could find the clues in what I think is the right location for Byron Price's hidden treasure. So if we take a look at the clue near men with wind rose, you're going to notice that that's very funny phrasing. So the phrasing of that, we need to go into the planetarium. Now, as we go into the planetarium, there's a lot of clues that we're going to reference in just a few moments, but one specifically to solve this line of the riddle. Now, if we take a look at this traverse board, and I'm going to put a screenshot that I took, and it will say, this wooden traverse board is a wind rose, which is very key phrasing to the riddle that we're looking at right here. And it's also one other indicator that we are in the right spot, or at least getting closer. All right, let's take a look at the next clue. So behind bending branches, that can mean a lot of things, especially with all these trees, but more specifically one road, and it's one road that leads right up to the entrance. Take a look at this. All of those trees down there, and then all of the trees kind of down there. Now these could easily be considered your bending branches because they're literally bending over the road. There was also another line to this, behind a green picket fence. For this, we need to go back into the park. So this is behind where I showed you the bending branches were. If you take a look, you're gonna notice something. That's right, that is a green picket fence. So now, all we have to figure out is what tall tree they're referring to in this riddle. And the way we're gonna do that is by identifying some of the descriptive terms in this riddle. So let's take a look at the first one. You can still hear the honking, and this rings true even in today's times, as this park is right off of the main road. So at all times and all hours, there's cars going by. But let's take a look at the next line. What is it? So the line shell, limestone, silver, and salt, there is no shortage of that in this park, to the point where pretty much everything here is actually made of shell. And as far as the limestone, silver, and salt, that's pretty much all around us. As this is right on the coast, the ocean is literally right next to us. Now if we take a look at the line, stars move by day, sails pass by night. This one's real easy. Let's go back to the planetarium, which clearly you can see stars in the day. But sails pass by night is a little bit trickier until you actually look at what's really inside the planetarium. It is literally nothing but ships. And just a side note, for anyone who actually goes to the planetarium and watches the show on the inside, it is literally all about how to sail using constellations and the stars. So whether that ties in or not, I don't know, but it's something that came to my mind. So far so good. Now let's take a look at the next line. Even in darkness, like moonlight in teardrops. Well, that's very specific. This is a tricky one, but in my mind, the closest thing to a teardrop in this park is going to be water, or a water droplet. Not only that, but it would look very similar if light was reflecting, whether it was the sun or the moon. So that takes care of the line. But I also have a theory on how we can narrow down which fountain or waterfall this is going to be. Now for this to really make sense, I'm going to pull up a scan of the park map. So if you go and visit the Fountain of Youth, this is literally the park map that they will hand you to walk around. So as we take a look at the park map, the first thing I want you to notice is where the planetarium is, okay? That is very specific to this riddle. The next thing we need to identify is the green picket fence, because that's clearly mentioned. So to make it easy, I'm going to highlight it for you. Anything that lights up green is a green picket fence. Now it seems that all of these clues are staying in the same relative area. If we know that, then we can also take a look at the map and you are going to notice that there is a fountain in between both the planetarium and the green picket fence. So now that we're looking for a fountain that the riddle could be referencing, I believe that this fountain in between the planetarium and the green picket fence is our fountain. This is the one that is like moonlight in teardrops. So how does this help us figure out where the treasure is actually buried? Well, it took a while, but here's what I came up with. Now it's saying that it's behind all of these. So, take a look at this. In theory, you need tickets to get to any of these landmarks that we are looking at. So, it's unlikely that Byron Price would bury this in a place where you would need to buy a ticket, because he had to sneak in and sneak out quickly back when he buried this originally. So, that takes my mind to the other side of the fence. So now we're going to take all of these clues and put together a theory on where it could be buried on the outside of that picket fence. Now we're going to take a look at all three of these. So you have the planetarium, okay, so the stars by day, sails by night. Then you have the fountain over there, which is your moonlight in tears. And then on the other side of that green fence, which we could tie to the over the tall grass, years pass, rain falls, there is a tall tree. Not only is there a tall tree, it is right near the restrooms, more specifically the men's room. Now if we go back to the second part of this riddle, it says near men with wind rose. We found the wind rose, but I think we also just found the near men, near the men's room, which is conveniently the closest bathroom to the planetarium where we found the wind rose. And now since this treasure's been hidden for over 40 years, the only thing we can do is look for the tallest, oldest looking tree, and that should be where the treasure's hidden. All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap up this episode due to the weather, so we're gonna come back and dig. We're gonna have to fill out a form, which is not bad news, so it gives us a little bit more time to think about it, kind of go back and take a look at our notes and see what's going on. I'm not digging out in a thunderstorm, so this is gonna be a part 2 of the episode. Damn. It's gonna be a part 2 of the episode, and we're gonna come back, and I guess we'll call it part 2, digging for the secret. But until now, I guess we're gonna kind of pack up. We're gonna kind of get everything we need on the way. Putting that book in there so that way it doesn't get ruined by all the rain. And it's gonna kind of be, it's gonna be good. So episode 2, digging for the secret, will come out soon. Also let us know in the comments what you think, if we're wrong about where we think the treasure is, because that might change where we dig. Appreciate the support. Until next time, this is After Hour Comedy.